Namaste Betiya, हमेशा खुश रहो बेटिया. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JVN Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine, in Faculty of Homeopathic Science at Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In this series of lectures, we are discussing about the different diseases of the hepatobiliary system. Today, we are going to discuss about hepatitis. In the previous lectures, we have discussed about various lectures or topics related to the hepatobiliary system, especially including ascites, acute and chronic liver failure, portal hypertension, cirrhosis of liver. Today, we are going to discuss about another important disease that is related to the or responsible for the development of hepatic failure, acute and chronic. So today, let's start with the hepatitis. In this series of lectures, we are going to discuss about the different type of viral hepatitis. So our main focus will be related only to the viral hepatitis. So let's start with hepatitis. Hepatitis, as the name suggests, itis. Itis is the inflammatory condition is the inflammatory condition. So hepatitis is basically the inflammation of the liver or the inflammatory condition of the liver. The most important causes of hepatitis are number one, viral infections. Number two, we can have autoimmune hepatitis. The third is the hepatitis that is occurring secondary to medications, drugs, toxins, and alcohol. There are viral hepatitis that is the most common cause of jaundice. So hepatitis, it is the inflammatory condition of the liver, and it is caused by the viral infections, different type of viral infections. We have autoimmune hepatitis that is responsible for development of the hepatitis. Autoimmune, when the cells, the body immune system is destroying the own cells of the liver. Hepatitis is occurring secondary to the medication. So if a person is taking too much medication, especially the paracetamol, then hepatitis can occur due to medications, drugs, toxins, and alcohol. There is viral hepatitis that is the most common cause of jaundice. Jaundice we have already discussed in the previous lectures. Now, hepatitis can be classified as acute or chronic infection. So it can be acute hepatitis or it can be chronic hepatitis. Acute viral hepatitis, it is a systemic infection predominantly affecting the liver. So hepatitis, what is hepatitis? It is the inflammatory condition of the liver and it is caused by viral infections. Autoimmune hepatitis, there is hepatitis that is occurring secondary to medication, drugs, toxins, and alcohol. There can be viral hepatitis that is the most common cause of jaundice, and it can be classified as acute and chronic hepatitis. So acute viral hepatitis, it is a systemic infection predominantly affecting the liver. So this is about the hepatitis definition. Now, what are the different causes of hepatitis? We have different type of hepatitis. I have told you already that in this lecture, we are going to discuss only about the viral hepatitis. So in the viral hepatitis, the causes for viral hepatitis includes hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, D, and E. These five we are going to discuss one by one in the coming lectures. The other causes also include cytomegalovirus. We have Epstein-Barr virus, herpes simplex virus, and the yellow fever. So the viral hepatitis is caused by the hepatitis virus A, B, C, D, E. Also cytomegalovirus. We have Epstein-Barr virus, herpes simplex, and the yellow fever. Now, what are the clinical features? Clinical features that are responsible for the development of hepatitis. Whenever a patient is coming to us, what are the signs and symptoms with which the patient will present in case of viral hepatitis? So in viral hepatitis, the patient will complain of malaise, myalgia. There will be feeling of malaise, tiredness. There will be myalgia, means the pains in the muscles, arthralgia, pain in the joints. There will be nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. So the patient will complain of malaise, myalgias, arthralgias, and nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea with a low-grade fever and abdominal discomfort. So in hepatitis, there will be malaise, there will be myalgia, there will be arthralgias, and the patient will complain of nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea with low-grade fever and abdominal discomfort. The symptoms usually precedes the development of the jaundice. So before jaundice, these symptoms are usually present for days to around 2 weeks. And if this hepatitis is going to continue for a longer duration, then it will ultimately result into the development of jaundice. And it is followed by, these symptoms are followed by the usually dark urine and pale stools. So the symptoms of jaundice, again, dark urine and pale stools with jaundice and tender hepatomegaly. These symptoms can be subclinical and detected on the value of elevated aspartate or alanine aminotransferases, that is AST and ALT, and the symptoms may last for 3 to 6 weeks. So in the clinical features of hepatitis, the patient will complain of malaise. There will be malaise, myalgia, arthralgia. There will be nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea with low-grade fever and abdominal discomfort. There will be these symptoms will usually precede the development of jaundice by a few days to 2 weeks. And it will be followed by dark urine and pale stools with a jaundice and tender hepatomegaly. It can be subclinical, or it can be detected on the basis of elevated aspartate or alanine aminotransferase, that is AST and ALT. The symptoms usually last for around 3 to 6 weeks. Now, what are the complications of viral hepatitis? So in the complication of viral hepatitis, the patient can have acute liver failure. So the patient can present with acute liver failure. There can be cholestatic hepatitis, that is hepatitis A. There can be aplastic anemia, chronic liver disease and cirrhosis with hepatitis B and C. So hepatitis A is responsible for cholestatic hepatitis. There can be acute liver failure. There can be aplastic anemia. And hepatitis B and C will be responsible for development of chronic liver disease and cirrhosis of the liver. And relapsing hepatitis can occur, means the hepatitis is relapsing, or it is coming again and again in the fever, or it is affecting again and again. So in the complication of hepatitis, we can have acute liver failure. There can be cholestatic hepatitis that is caused by hepatitis A. There can be aplastic anemia. The patient can have chronic liver disease and cirrhosis of liver that is especially caused by hepatitis B and C virus, and there can be a relapsing hepatitis. Now, what are the various investigations that could be done in case of hepatitis? In case of viral hepatitis, when a patient is coming to us, a hepatic pattern of the liver function test is usually done. So we can go for liver function test in the patient. So we have liver function test to be done. AST and ALT. AST and ALT includes aspartate aminotransferase and alanine aminotransferase that could be checked for. Plasma bilirubin level reflects a degree of liver damage. So we can have a hepatic pattern of liver function test that is checked for. As per AST and ALT level to be checked for. Plasma bilirubin level, it reflects the degree of the liver damage. Alkaline phosphatase, it rarely exceeds twice the upper limit of the normal. We can also check for the prothrombin time. The prothrombin time is usually prolonged. The WBC count is usually normal with a relative lymphocytosis. So the patient will have lymphocytosis and the WBC count will be raised. In the serological testing, we can confirm the etiology. We can check for the antibodies by IgM, IgG antibodies. So in the investigation, we can check for the hepatic pattern of the lymphatic LFT, liver function test performs. AST and ALT level to be checked for aspartate aminotransferase and alanine aminotransferase. The plasma bilirubin level will reflect the degree of the liver damage. And alanine phosphatase, it rarely exceeds twice the upper limit of the normal. Prothrombin time can be checked for, and it is prolonged. The WBC count is usually normal with relative lymphocytosis. There is serological test that could be done for checking the antibodies by doing IgG, IgM for particular antigen. Now, how to manage a case of hepatitis, viral hepatitis? Whenever a patient is coming to us, how can we manage a case of viral hepatitis? Most of the individuals do not do not need hospital care. So most of the patients with viral hepatitis, they do not need hospital care, and drugs which are metabolized in the liver are avoided. So all those drugs that are metabolized in the liver are avoided because of the progressive damage that is going on in the liver. And the patient are advised to avoid the sedatives and the narcotics. Alcohol should be avoided. The patient should be asked not to take the alcohol. And there are no specific dietary modifications that are necessary. Liver transplant is very rarely indicated. So in the management, the patient do not require hospital care, especially in case of hepatitis, viral hepatitis. And drugs, these are metabolized in the liver, and these are avoided. That leads to the development of, so sedatives and narcotics are usually avoided in such case. Alcohol should be avoided, and there is no specific dietary modifications are needed. And liver transplantation is very rarely indicated. So this was about general hepatitis. Now we will start with hepatitis A. So in this lecture, we are going to start with hepatitis A, and the other hepatitis we are going to discuss in the coming lectures. So what is hepatitis A? We have discussed that the hepatitis that we are going to discuss in this series of lecture will be hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. All 5 hepatitis we are going to discuss one by one. So first of all, coming to the hepatitis A, I have shown the picture of hepatitis A virus, that is also known as the picorna virus, in the keynotes that I have submitted. So hepatitis A, it is a picorna virus group of the enterovirus. So hepatitis A is basically a picornavirus group of the enterovirus. Entero is pertaining to the intestine. So hepatitis A is a picornavirus that is related to the enterovirus intestine, a single-stranded RNA genome. Hepatitis A is spread, it is highly infectious, and it is spread by the fecal-oral route. So most common infection that you are going to see in hepatitis is because of the hepatitis A. So hepatitis A is highly infectious and it is spreading by the fecal-oral route. The onset is acute onset. So hepatitis A is basically a picorna virus group of the enterovirus, that is, it is affecting the intestine. It is highly infectious and it is spreading by the fecal-oral route. The onset of symptoms in case of hepatitis A is acute onset. So the symptoms are developing very acutely. The incubation period for hepatitis A is around 15 to 45 days with a mean of 30 days. So in the hepatitis A, we are having the incubation period of 15 to 45 days with a mean of the 30 days. The age incidence, hepatitis A can affect mostly children and the young adults. So with hepatitis A, mostly children and the young adults are getting affected. And it is hepatitis A virus infection is common in the areas where you will find overcrowding and poor sanitation. So hepatitis A virus is most commonly affecting the children and the young adults, and it is most commonly seen in the areas where overcrowding and poor sanitation is there because it is spreading by the fecal-oral route. Now, what are the clinical features of the patient with hepatitis A virus? So, as we have discussed, the prodromal symptoms of hepatitis will remain the same. That is the malaise, myalgia, arthralgia. There will be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. So the patient will complain of malaise, myalgias, arthralgias. There will be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and low-grade fever and abdominal discomfort. So the patient will complain of malaise. There will be pain in the muscles. There will be myalgias, arthralgias. There will be nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea with the low-grade fever and abdominal discomfort. There will be symptoms that usually precedes the development of jaundice. So after these symptoms, the jaundice will develop after 2 weeks, few days to 2 weeks. So patient will have myalgias, the patient will have arthralgias, there will be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, low-grade fever, and abdominal discomfort. And it is followed by jaundice. Jaundice that will be characterized by dark colored urine and pale stools with jaundice and tender hepatomegaly. The symptoms can be subclinical and it can be detected by the level of the increased level of AST and ALT. The symptoms will usually last for 3 to 6 weeks. And there is a recovery that occurs within 6 to 12 months and with no clinical sequel. So usually in such cases, there is recovery and there is no clinical sequel until and unless you don't get another infections through the hepatitis A virus. So anti-HAV of the IgM type can be identified and it increases primary immune response, whereas hepatitis A virus of the IgG type is of no diagnostic value. So if we are getting IgM hepatitis A virus, then it will show us primary immune response, but IgG is of no value because it will be positive for a long time. Now, how to manage a case of hepatitis A? So hepatitis A can be managed by improving the social condition because it is spreading by the fecal-oral route, and it is seen in the areas of the overcrowding and poor sanitation. So we have to improve those conditions. So improving the social conditions, especially overcrowding and the poor sanitation, has to be done. Immunization has to be done by inactivated HAV virus in the uninfected cases. Immune serum globulin in outbreak of hepatitis can be done. And hepatitis A infection in the patient with chronic liver disease, it causes serious life-threatening disease. So if a patient is having chronic liver disease and the patient is getting affected by the hepatitis A virus, then it will become a life-threatening disease for the patient. So management includes improving the social condition, immunization by hepatitis A vaccine, immune serum globulin, and if a patient is already having chronic liver disease and getting affected by hepatitis A virus, then it can be a life-threatening condition. The overall prognosis of hepatitis A virus is good, and the patients are usually getting cured. So this is all about hepatitis in general and hepatitis A virus. Uh, uh, in the next lecture, we are going to discuss about hepatitis B, C, D, and E. So this is all about today. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyarthi from East University. I hope you have understood the session properly. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. Have a good day.